Hi, y'all. I'm going to jump right into the issue for today. Another issue, a very pertinent issue, I think, that exists not only in my community, but it's a worldwide issue, and I call it the silent killer. I'm talking about sexual abuse. Sexual abuse is one of the most damaging, life altering, and destructive things that can happen, I believe, to a human being. And contrary to popular belief, I believe that the phenomenon of sexual abuse and the effects that it has on those who are affected by it is something that it can last over a lifetime. It's one of those things that you can have your good days, you can have your bad days, but it's something that is forever with you, and that it really becomes a part of you. It doesn't define you per se in any way, but it definitely changes your life. And just in my professional work and what I do, and dealing with families in my past, and from my own personal experiences with it, I think in the Black community particularly, for years, past and even today, there's still this sort of stigma and sense of shame and embarrassment attached to it. And so I think because of that, it's not usually dealt with the way it needs to be when it does occur. And there are some fundamental things that can happen as parents. I don't have any children of my own, but just in what I've observed from other people's children and what I've seen and experienced myself, um, I think as a parent, what you need to remember, hopefully, anyone that sees this, I pray that your child or you have never been affected by sexual abuse, because, like I said, it is a very debilitating thing. But if you have been affected by it, you've experienced it, or if you've had a child who has experienced it, first things first, as a parent, I think the best thing that you can do, and one of the most powerful things that you can do, is to believe your child and let your child know that you believe them. Show your child that unconditional love and let them know that what happened was not their fault in any way, and that they have nothing to be ashamed about because they didn't do anything wrong. I think so many times parents underestimate the value that that can have for a child, just to hear those simple words, I believe you. And we a lot of times don't give that to our children. And as a result, besides what they've already experienced and been traumatized from, they also now have these other issues of, well, mommy and daddy didn't believe me, or mommy and daddy didn't do anything about it, or, they have to deal with that person who victimized them sometimes still being in their life or in their world. And the image and the message that we send to that child is very, very devastating. And I think we don't take enough time to really understand that, number one. Number two, when it comes to sexual abuse, as with I think a lot of other things that can happen in life, we tend to misunderstand that telling a child what you feel about it and your actions, it's very important that those two things be in sync. It's very difficult to tell a child, hey, I believe you, and you're still with the person, or you still include that person in your life, or have that person around the child. It really does send a very mixed message. And honestly, the child doesn't think you believe them, which adds another layer to, like I said, an already stressful and difficult situation. So parents and relatives, I encourage and implore you that if you have been affected by sexual abuse in either your life or your child's life, it is imperative, number one, that you let them know that you believe them. It is imperative, number two, that your actions in telling them that you believe them match up with what you're saying. And And you have to know, so many people don't quite understand it, and they don't realize that it impacts different people different ways. And some kind of go, I think it's like a spectrum. And you have some people who appear to be unaffected by it and seem to live normal lives, and they go on and they're more resilient. And then you have some of those who just couldn't handle it, and they turn to all types of vices, and then they go to drugs later on in life, sometimes prostitution, promiscuity, low self-esteem, weight gain, weight loss, bulimia, anorexia, all types of eating disorders. There's a whole thing of vices that a person can fall prey to if they don't successfully kind of navigate through the phenomenon of being sexually abused and the aftermath. Um, so I think support from family, friends, whatever, are very, very key and very, very important to a child who's been impacted by that. So please remember, I'm not going to sit here and say every single person that's ever been sexually abused just went down the road to nowhere and, you know, didn't do anything positive with their life, because it's very much not true. There are a lot of successful people. There are a lot of people, you have your issues maybe, but you're still coping and you're still able to live a very productive and be very functional. So don't mistake me on that. But I think we underestimate the role of family and the role of support and the role of having your actions be consistent with what you're saying to that child. And so I'm going to kind of do some series on this because I can't really cover all of it in the time frame that I have. So I have a whole lot of different aspects of this that I want to cover. That's those are the two main first things I want to get out there. And I hope that someone seeing this can understand that and know that it's very important for your child to know and understand that. For whatever reason, sexual abuse it seems to be on the rise. You know, it's a lot more prevalent. I don't know if it's that it's happening more or if it's just being, there's more awareness about it and it's being talked about more, and kids are being educated more on good touch and bad touch type things. So they're more prevalent in telling about if something like that happens to them. So maybe that's the reason for it, or maybe it's just, I don't know. So I want you guys to keep that in mind and give me your feedback on that. Like I said, I have a lot of different aspects to cover from this, and I'm going to ask you some questions because there's some things I want to know what people are feeling out there about, certain situations. So let me know, and hope you enjoy watching.